axe-wielding half-man, half-goat creatures have both terrified and captivated Americans for generations. From Texas to Kentucky, similar cryptids populate folklore, but the Maryland Goatman of Prince George's County perhaps stands out as the most notorious. Since the late 1950s, he's earned his place as one of Maryland's iconic monsters, enduring for over 70 years. In October 1971, the Prince George's County News first wrote about the Maryland Goatman. They looked into reports of the creature near Fletchertown Road, using stories from the University of Maryland Folklore Archives. But the legend really took off the next month. The Washington Post shared a scary story about a dog named Ginger that was found dead with its head cut off near places in Bowie, Maryland, where people often said the Goatman was seen. In this article, a witness named April Edwards was quoted, convinced that the Goatman had taken her pet's life, emphatically stating, "What I saw was real, and I know I'm not crazy." Even before the Maryland Goatman's dramatic emergence in the local monster lore of the 1970s, murmurs of his existence were already in the air. In fact, sightings of a hairy bipedal creature in Forestville and Upper Marlboro trace back to 1957, but it was during the 1970s that Prince George's County witnessed the meteoric rise of the Goatman, solidifying crucial aspects of his legend. One widely accepted origin story ties the Goatman to Dr. Stephen Fletcher, a scientist at the United States Department of Agriculture's Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. According to this narrative, Fletcher's twisted ambition led him to try mixing human and goat DNA. The mad scientist used goats in his experiments, hoping to blend their genes with humans, but instead of a breakthrough, his experiment backfired, turning him into the dangerous half-man, half-goat creature now called the Goatman. In 1971, the Washington Post conveyed local narratives which painted the Goatman as a mad scientist from Beltsville who birthed a murderous axe-wielding monstrosity through his experiments. The reports from Prince George's County residents further detailed an animal-like creature walking on its hind legs, especially near the research center. Yet another origin story shifts the blame from Fletcher to another local scientist, William Lotsford. As the story goes, Lotsford messed up his DNA experiments, and instead of a successful test, he turned himself into the terrifying Goatman that now roams Maryland. Still, not everyone buys into the scientific creation narrative of the Goatman. Some skeptics picture him as merely a hermit with a goat-like beard, hiding away in Maryland's forests. Although the origin of the Maryland Goatman, differs from tale to tale, certain consistent characteristics give shape to this local legend. Repeated physical attributes, popular haunts, and sinister behaviors in testimonies over the years have, carved a distinct image of this beast. Typically, the Goatman is portrayed as a towering bipedal creature, blending both human and goat features. His upper body mirrors a muscular man, but goat horns protrude from his head. Below, he boasts the furry hind legs and hooves of a goat. Eyewitnesses from the 1970s claimed they confronted a massive hairy entity standing around 6 feet, walking upright. Intriguingly, this creature also demonstrated the agility to move swiftly on all fours, as mentioned by the Washington Post back in 1971. Besides his chimeric physique, the Goatman displays some really eerie abilities, ranging from shape-shifting and possessing superhuman strength to, brandishing an axe menacingly. His reported cries, which are a chilling blend of human and goat, definitely amplify the dread he evokes. Bowie, Maryland's winding back roads and secluded spots have become, almost synonymous with Goatman sightings, particularly around Fletchertown Road. Another renowned locale is Crybaby Bridge, infamous for its frequent Goatman encounters. Nighttime drivers often recount harrowing tales of the Goatman stalking these desolate pathways. Alarmingly, he's been known to aggressively pounce on passing vehicles, shattering windshields to reach terrified occupants. But cars aren't his only targets. The Goatman stands accused of beheading local pets, mainly dogs. He also seems to have a penchant for menacing thrill-seeking teenagers, shadowing them through woods or launching attacks if they intrude upon his territory. Over the years, campers, hikers, and couples seeking solitude have reported alarming encounters with this enigmatic Maryland menace. The legend of the Goatman is not bound by Maryland's borders, however. The Goatman walks many roads. The eerie legend of the Goatman of Old Alton Bridge, often called Goatman's Bridge, is really entrenched in the local lore of Denton County, Texas. Denton's most famous specter is a story that's been handed down for generations, with a few variations. Travelers to the Old Alton Bridge, which was built way back in 1884 as a busy thoroughfare, have long reported frightening encounters and ghostly experiences with supernatural creatures that have made it a legendary spot for Texas ghost hunters and, honestly, a topic for numerous books. According to the most circulated version, an African-American entrepreneur named Oscar Washburn and his family tended a farmstead goat herd near the bridge that was, renowned for quality meat, milk, cheeses, and hides. When the popular businessman proudly hung a sign on the old Alton Bridge directing this way to the Goatman, it infuriated local Ku Klux Klansmen who, unfortunately, plotted violence. On a dark night in the late 1930s, a lynch mob of Kluxers stormed Washburn's shack and dragged the screaming Goatman to their noose waiting on the bridge, tightened the rope around the begging Oscar's neck, then mercilessly flung him over the side. But when the night riders stumbled down to the dark river's edge to confirm their murderous handiwork, they were shocked to find only an inexplicably empty noose dangling over undisturbed waters. The panicked Klansmen frantically searched the area unsuccessfully before rushing to Washburn's shanty, setting it afire with the Goatman's family shrieking inside, maybe hoping to bait a desperate rescue attempt by the vanished Oscar. Washburn was never seen again, they say, but a vengeful spirit has haunted the old Alton Bridge ever since. Local legend says if you knock on the steel bridge 3 times at midnight, or maybe turn off your car lights and honk 3 times in summons, then you dare a visitation from the vengeful Goatman that's always preceded by the stench of decaying flesh. There are numerous reports that tell of these, unholy glowing eyes burning red from the darkness, eerie glimpses of a large, snarling, goat-headed man-beast stomping around in the wooded shadows, or even a frightening apparition of a maniacal satyr carrying the heads of goats or humans in his hands. The terrifying encounters and reported vanishings have been so frequent as to warrant numerous investigations by paranormal groups. In the folklore of Louisville, Kentucky, the Pope Lick monster is similar to the Maryland Goatman in its half-human, half-goat appearance, but it is specifically associated with the Pope Lick Creek area, particularly the Pope Lick train trestle. According to some accounts, the creature uses either hypnosis or voice mimicry to lure trespassers to the trestle to meet their death before an oncoming train. Other stories claim the monster jumps down from the trestle onto the roofs of cars passing beneath it. Yet other legends tell that it attacks its victims with a blood-stained axe. It has also been said that the very sight of the creature is so unsettling that those who see it while walking across the high trestle are driven to leap off. Other legends explain the creature's origins, including that it is a human-goat hybrid, and that it was a circus freak who vowed revenge after being mistreated. In one version, the creature escaped after a train derailed on the trestle, which actually links the Pope Lick monster to the legend of the ghost train, which has also been sighted on the trestle. Another version claims that the monster is really the twisted reincarnation of a farmer who sacrificed goats in exchange for satanic powers. If we go way back in time, we find Goatman's origins back in the ancient folds of Greek mythology. Creatures like Pan, the god of the wild and shepherds, might have sown the earliest seeds for this modern legend. Pan is depicted as a lustful figure with the legs, horns, and ears of a goat. Pan was revered as a protector of shepherds and goat herds, as well as their flocks, embodying the essence of fertility and the uninhibited force of the natural world. His presence was felt most strongly in the woods and secluded areas at night, where any strange noises were attributed to him. This connection explains why the term panic originally described the terror associated with sudden, unexplained frights thought to be caused by Pan. However, people are almost certain such beings were just the product of an overactive imagination. The modern-day Goatman seems to have physical evidence. Do you guys have any experience with Goatman? Let me know in the comments.